How's everybody doing? Awesome. Okay, well, I'm really happy to be here with you guys tonight. I'm going to kind of spend my time in the middle of the room. My name's Tonia Turigliatto. How many people thought it was Tonia? Be honest. Okay, that's okay. So I'm just going to start off by saying I kind of grew up an unconventional way. My name's unconventional, Tonia Turigliatto. Most people can't even say it. Growing up, my parents homeschooled us, so once I entered into 8th grade for school, I was always the kid that people didn't know how to say the name and would just stutter. So I'm used to standing out. So I'm going to talk about my goals and what it took to get to entrepreneurship for me, and kind of my story and how it was kind of an unlikely thing. So I just want to start off with this quote. For me, it's very powerful when it resonates with me if I could describe myself in one quote. I am no bird, no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. And honestly, the reason I have that background is because of how I grew up. I had a really loving family. My dad was an entrepreneur. He actually owned his own accounting business, and the best advice he gave me when I was looking to go to college and try to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, because I really had no idea, like most of us, is he said, do something you love, because he said, he went to school for business because it was something that was logical, and he's still trying to figure out what he wants to be when he grows up. So that was great. So I went to school for the arts, and I loved it. But, a big part of my background was how my parents raised us. Like I said, I was homeschooled, and part of that when I was growing up was because we grew up in Napa. We were in the wrong school district, and so we would have had to go on a bus to get to the right school district, which was actually a further distance, and be on the bus about an hour and a half each way both days. So my parents said, no, my kids are not going to be on a bus. They should be outside playing and being in the country and growing up like little girls should. So that's why I started out going to homeschool. My mom was my teacher through 7th grade, and I was the kid that always was like, I want to be like the other kids. Why can't I go and, go to the middle school or go to the public school and have friends? Like my sister, she's cool, but, I don't want her to be my main friend. So it was really awesome, because it was kind of like all my life I spent wanting to be like everybody else, but as soon as I got to be like everybody else, I wanted to be different. And so that's exactly how it changed. So, we grew up traveling, and the best part about being homeschooled, now that I look back on it, was we could take our school, our classroom, wherever we wanted to go. So my dad, his crazy time was always after Christmas doing, tax season and things like that, but the rest of the 6 months, we were going on road trips, going fishing, going hiking, going to see national parks, going to Disneyland. So, I was, fly fishing by the age of like 5, with my dad and everything. And so, these are just some examples. Like they took us to Hawaii. We were always going and being outdoors. I really got to appreciate nature and just, having my own schedule and just being brought up in that kind of ruined me for life in the best way possible. This was in Victoria, Canada. We had a tent trailer. It was just a lot of fun. And, Hawaii, helicoptering in Yellowstone, Hawaii again. We just went to Hawaii so many times. We would always go to the snow for Christmas, which was a lot of fun. My dad always wanted us to be kind of adventurous. Like he was surrounded by 5 sisters all his whole life, so I think he always wanted a son. But, we would always go on the highway with him and go motorcycle riding. It was great. And just doing adventurous stuff. Like this was my jam. and so, we just created these peak life experiences, and that's just how I grew up. I didn't know any other way. I always was around my dad, who was an entrepreneur and kind of set his own schedule pretty much most of the time. So when it got to going to school and trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life, I took his advice. He's like, don't do something that's logical. I was like, okay. I really like being an artist. I really like painting. And I was like, well, I don't really think I can really make a living at that, So I just kind of started doing research, and I found a art director at Sunset Magazine, and I shadowed him for a day, and I was like, graphic design, that sounds kind of cool. You could be a writer, but you can be in the magazine industry and still show your creative side. And so I was like, okay. I started emailing all these people that were at design firms in San Francisco, and I said, what's the top program that you guys recommend for graphic design? 95% of them said Cal Poly because it was hands-on and you had real clients in a lot of it. So Amber was actually back in the room. She was in my classes with me. It was rigorous and it was real-life stuff. Like we had, City of Rio Grande, commissioning us for their branding, things like that. So it was a great thing. But I was not the most likely person to be an entrepreneur because how I grew up, despite having all this amazing experience with my parents and everything, I was kind of introverted, to be honest, because I didn't have those years of going to public school and, doing presentations in front of people. It was just me, my mom, and my sister at home doing school. so I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna, go and figure this whole college thing out. So this is a picture of my parents took when they walked away after they moved me in. Like I was saying about them from my dorm room window in Palomar and everything. So I looked at it as a transition that would allow me to grow and to be what I wanted to decide to be for myself. So that was a real growth experience for me. I had never been around that many people. This was our group of people from the dorms, and just having people come in and out of our room every day, and like we were the social, room was just different for me. I just never had that, growing up in the country and things like that. And I got to show my artistic side for things like photo shoots and all this, and just have a blast. So I decided my junior year to go out on a limb and try something completely outside of my comfort zone. So what did I do? I signed up to be a WOW leader. So for those of you who don't know WOW is a orientation program that Cal Poly puts on for all the new students that, you orientate them to the new town they live in, all this stuff. So I did not like being up in front of people. So I did this with one of my best friends at the time, and we were co-partners and things like that, and it was a great leadership introduction for me. I'd never had that before. So, some of the key points I found out was you stood out. It was kind of like a co-ed fraternity sorority that I didn't ask to be a part of. But, you had to kind of embrace your own authenticity, too. So everyone had their different styles, and I was kind of just figuring it out, and I was pushing myself, but still not quite as out there as a lot of people were. But you had to allow change, and so I allowed myself to pick up different skills and learn from other people and just embrace what was normal for me and make it my own. But one big thing I really discovered from this experience was we were training to train other people how to be successful. And so I realized quickly that WOW was fun, but it's not about me. And it's about the other people's experience and helping them get where they need to be successful students at Cal Poly. So we had to kind of serve others and challenge the status quo along the way. So this is the first group of people I mentored, my first WOW group. It was crazy. So yeah, it was kind of fun. You had to break the ice. You had to get people to get to know each other and kind of break their own boundaries. So it was kind of like looking at myself from the outside in when I got started, which was kind of fun. And then the big graduation day came, and I was like, okay, well, I have a degree in graphic design, and I don't really want to move to the city. I had a lot of friends that were ahead of me, and they were kind of living out of their parents' garages, doing screen printing and, serving tables just to live in the city. I was like, I don't want that for myself. So I said, okay, I'm going to stick around here, see what I can get, and then give myself a little time to figure out what my game plan was. So, the future seemed bright, but it was right around the time that the recession started. I graduated in 2010, so jobs weren't plentiful for people coming out of college with 0 years of experience. So I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna get my first job. So I was excited, doing this, no more homework, but honestly, at the end of the day, this is more what I looked like. I was working in customer service at a printing company, and it was just the most grueling experience that they promised me I was going to be their department designer, but then my job quickly changed as I started, and I was like, this is not what I signed up for, you guys. I was around people who had been there anywhere from 5 years to 12 years, and they were so miserable. All they were looking forward to was happy hour, so how we could go and discuss how much we hated what we did. I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is the 9 to 5, I guess, that have been working for my whole life. Okay, I don't know about this. So it was just something that I had to go through, and I'm very lucky, and I did not look at it as a blessing at that point in my life. But within 7 months of doing that job, I got laid off because I was the newest meat in the company too. So I was only laid off for a couple of weeks, but it kind of shook me and was just like, I need something else. If they can just drop me at the drop of a hat, this is something I can't, have for myself for the rest of life. So this is when it all changed. This was, these two women changed my life forever. This was about April 12th, 2011. My friend from college came over to my house and just told me, I have something you've really got to check out. And she brought this girl with her, the one on the left, Kelsey, and a lot of people don't know what a rock star she is, but and they forever changed my life because they showed me a concept that was exactly what I was looking for. I was looking to have more fun, create a lifestyle on my terms, help more people because I gotten a taste of that with WOW, and travel more. I mean, come on, could we all be honest? If time or money wasn't an issue, what would you want to do with your life? Experience more, deal with the people you care about, right? So my eyes lit up. I was like, this is awesome. So I just kind of jumped in blindly and just went for it. So we went to our first big event and just kind of were doing, yeah, we met a lot of people from around the world as a travel company, so you started to have to, meet people and just kind of network naturally. So we had fun, and I actually learned to start dreaming again. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there was a Hello, My Dream Is wall, and we had to put name tags up there with what our dream was. And I hadn't been thinking about that for a long time. So as I got started, I had no business experiences, and a lot of people were like, what are you doing? You're just out of college. What do you know about business? And so a lot of what I call dream stealers didn't look like this. They looked more like your parents or your friends and family and things like that because they just never seen you in a role like this. So I kind of had to get over that, and I was like, okay, I guess I need some work on my skills. So I did something about it. I started going to develop myself and do personal training. And the great thing about this company was that they have people that have been doing this longer than you, that are more successful than you, and are willing to actually share with you what they did to make themselves successful. Do you get that from your CEO or your boss or your manager? Because usually job security is an issue, right? They want to keep their job. They don't want to give it to you. This was a completely opposite model. Basically, it went back to, if I can help enough people get what they want in life, then I can get what I want in life. And I felt like that was a more empowering way for me to go about life. So, I started meeting people from around the company. We had leaders start coming to our area in the very early beginning. I just had to get out of my comfort zone, go talk to people, which was out of my comfort zone, again, being introverted, and learn what they did to be successful. And along the way, we found some really fun experiences, and more and more people started jumping on board and having fun with us too. And before we knew it, more and more people were being sent out because we were doing so well. And we started vacationing, and what I love is that when you do what you love, the money will follow, because people will follow you because they see the genuineness of you. So I just started, traveling with my mom. I took her on trips. This is just, some examples, traveling around the world. And I don't know what happened. Oops, not playing. There we go. So yeah, these are just traveling around the world, and the one trip that changed my life was going to Guatemala and building a bottle school. I spent a week out there working, and these two girls were my shadows the entire trip, and that was another bigger perspective for me where I knew that it wasn't about me. I was there for a piece of that project, but for that school for them would last them the rest of their lifetime and change their lives. So that was my breakthrough. I started hitting ranks with the company before I knew it, and a lot of my other friends and some of the people along the way were not happy that I was doing something out of the box, started coming around and being, I'm proud of you because you stuck with it, despite what we said. So, they say people will die for, recognition, and I think that's very true in a lot of jobs. If you just tell someone they did a good job in their work, how much could that brighten their day than always saying what's going wrong, what are they doing wrong? So, this was the original four of us that started this concept within 4 hours radius of San Luis Obispo. And just so you know, whether you think something's having an impact on somebody, you never know until it gets to a point like this a few years later where it starts with a few people and their lives change because you stepped out of the box and stayed with it. So what's next? As Michael said, I am getting my life coaching certification and starting another business. This business and this mentorship has inspired me to help more people on a bigger level in different ways and do it on more of a personal level. So life coaching for me was just another avenue to do that and just spread this message around the world of people having more fun, more freedom, more fulfillment in their lives, because we only live once and you've got to make this the best shot you can. And so this is the last thing I want to redo. This is what I also try to live my life by. The master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information, his recreation, his love, his religion. He hardly knows which is which.